Hello, I'm Petroc Trelawny. I present the breakfast programme on BBC Radio 3. I'm from the Lizard Peninsula in Cornwall, and I'm very proud to have been involved in the North Cornwall Book Festival. I have to say I've certainly felt very lucky because it's certainly been great for me. I mean, the idea that I've still had to get up every morning, get dressed, go into work. There's a routine, there's a kind of structure to the day. And I'm talking to friends. I think that's what a lot of people I know have been struggling with. People write at length, which perhaps they didn't do in the past. It's not just could you please play this bit of Bach or this bit of Beethoven? There'll be a reason why they want to hear that particular piece of music. A lot of people have talked about how music has kept them sane, has kept them balanced during this. And a lot of people have talked about how they've just sought an escape from the continuous news agenda around COVID-19. It seems to be that a lot of people are seeking solace in classical music and seeking some sort of escape from absolutely every bit of the rather grim reality of life at the moment. I mean, it has been a great opportunity to explore the amazing archives that the BBC has. You know, that we've been able to create a best of the Edinburgh Festival Queen's Hall series, a best of the Aldeburgh Festival. We're going to have 6 weeks of fantastic archive proms featuring every great conductor, every great soloist, each great orchestra. That has been very exciting. I think it has been very useful to be able to look back and relive some of the glorious moments of the past from our archives. But, it's very hard to balance that against the terrible state many British musical institutions and musicians themselves find that they have as they look forward. Orchestra players who, live to make music in a community of 70, 80, 90 players stuck at home. Yes, they can record wonderful things in isolation and they can be knitted together, and we've broadcast some sensational things like that from the BBC Philharmonic, particularly in Manchester, who've been doing amazing stuff in isolation. But again, it's not the same as being together. Cornwall, I suppose, means first of all home, and I was there until I was 18. When I really couldn't wait to get away, actually, I was desperate to get to the big city, to get to London, and via Exeter and Hong Kong, I managed to do that. And then suddenly, about 10 years ago, I just fell in love with Cornwall all over again and realised that this is the place where I'm happiest. This is the place where I come from. This is the place where my roots are. These are the roads that I can navigate my way around, and I know every bend, every kind of step in the cliff path as you walk down. These are the villages that I know intimately. I think there is that sort of sense that of being drawn back and the possibilities that presents. I never idealised Cornwall. I mean, I think it's a difficult place. The rural poverty, which isn't often immediately noticeable in the way it is in cities, but is grinding and horrific and difficult. The challenges of making a living outside the tourist season, the kind of low pay that goes with a lot of jobs in the tourist season. It's a very pretty place, but it's not a pretty place, if you know what I mean. It's a place with harsh realities, but also a place with a real soul, and a place, as I say, a place where I feel most at home. I'm going to read from what is very much a work in progress, a memoir that I've been working on for the past year or so. I was asked if I'd write a book about my love of train travel. And I started writing it, and I suddenly found I wasn't writing that at all. I was writing a memoir of my Cornish childhood between the age of 5 and 18, which had in it a kind of obsession with trains, not an entirely successful obsession with trains, because I lived about 15 miles out on the Lizard Peninsula away from the nearest railway line. There was certainly no opportunity, had I wanted to go out with my pencil and collect locomotive numbers. But I dreamt about trains, and I sort of fantasized about trains and wanted to travel by train at any opportunity. And this is just a few paragraphs from a chapter I've written about what was my first independent train trip, which came out of a shopping visit we made. We used to go about once a month from Helston to Falmouth, because Falmouth had a Marks and Spencer. It's the only Marks and Spencer in Cornwall. And my mother used to adore shopping in Marks and Spencer. But for me, the cogs of my mind were working at an alternative plan when we set off to go shopping one Saturday at M&S in Falmouth. Sadly, it's no more, that Falmouth M&S. I was 11 when I finally got to take the train from Falmouth, travelling to Penryn, 10 minutes away, in what was a significant event in my childhood, my first ever solo railway journey. I started secretly plotting the trip as soon as a visit to M&S was mooted. First a call to the BR inquiry line at Truro Station to clarify train times, a place I could see myself working one day. The excitement of sitting, telephone headset on, surrounded by every timetable book and official railway document available, providing essential information to the travelling public. Some of the operators answered the phone with a sigh and had to be pushed into giving more than the most basic details. But one man in Truro treated every question with glee and enthusiasm. No query was too much, as he thoughtfully considered and answered my often spurious demands to know about connections to the Midlands, dining cars to Norwich, and through train ferry tickets to the Isle of Wight. I imagined his home life, the shelves in his sitting room filled with international timetables, evenings spent sitting at his desk, pencil in hand, planning trips to communist Poland or from Istanbul to Baghdad, making the best use of the discounts offered by his international railwayman's concessionary travel pass. It seemed sensible not to pre-warn my mother and father of my plan, safer to spring it on them in Falmouth. In the early 1980s, there were not many trains on the line, which meant timing was critical. Already irritated about a shopping trip eating into his Saturday, my father would have said no immediately if my adventure was going to cause major delay. But at least outings in our family were precisely planned. Dad allocated 3/4 of an hour for my mother to shop, and she made sure she was finished in that time. Normally, the post-shopping toasted tea cake and milky coffee at the Old English tea rooms would have been a big treat. This time, I was too nervous to enjoy them properly, casting surreptitious glances at my recently acquired digital watch. I finally proposed my plan when we reached the car park on the quay. The words came tumbling out. "There is a train 20 minutes from now. I could get it to Penryn. You could collect me there?" Predictably, my father immediately dismissed the idea. He was not someone who appreciated unexpected changes of plan. "Another time, we'll plan it properly and do the whole line to Truro. We can all go." That was not what I wanted. I wanted to be a solo traveller, not sitting there with my father, who might say something embarrassing at any moment. Then Mum smiled at me and turned to him. "Come on, why not?" she said. "It'll only hold us up a little." Dad shrugged his shoulders. My heart started beating faster. The journey was going to happen. I'll see you at North Cornwall Book Festival.